Your ghoul is having a day. Look, I'm wearing a messy bun, and I'm wearing a skeleton that has a messy bun. Me and the skeleton match because we both have bones. Anyway, yeah, it's been a rough one, but I am going to the North Iowa Book Bash at the Diamond Joe's Cathedral. Oh my God, no, it's not a cathedral. The Diamond Joe's Casino in Northwoods, Iowa this coming weekend, and I did not want to leave without, I had to edit due to burp. I did not want to leave without putting a video up for the Mister, because, you know, I'm not consistent with the uploads. It's just, it is how it is. It's who I am as a person. I'm inconsistent about uploads because I'm disabled. And I do like 900 different things, right? Oh, I was like, what? This is not this book. Let me tell you before we get started on the terrible book that I am currently reading a delightful book. It is a fantasy novel called Thrown in the Dark. It's from the Villains and Virtues series by A.K. Caggiano, I think is how it's pronounced. If not, help me out. Go take a look. But it's charming. You know, another book that we will be discussing soon on my Patreon is Icebreaker, the viral hockey romance. It's going to be a Patreon exclusive series of videos on, over there I'm starting up because I have the Jealous Patrons book club there, so I'm going to start a Jealous Patrons AV club, and it will be available at the $1 tier. There will be a special 5-part look at Icebreaker, because it's not a book that needs to be picked apart chapter by chapter. For me, it's a 2-star read, basically. It's a 2-star read. But my daughter hated it, so she made me read it, and she wants a chance to tell the world how much she hates it. So one part of the 5-part series will be my daughter just ranting, you know, apple tree. So the link is in the description. If you would like to go and subscribe to my Patreon at the $1 tier, you will be receiving those videos when I am done with the going to Minnesota. Nope, going to Iowa. The going to Iowa thing. Hey, look at that. They wake up and that's how the chapter starts. And he's spooning her and she has a delicious, arousing scent. My dick, thwarted last night for compassionate reasons, is raring to go. Where is this compassion? Because he was complaining about not being able to bang his wife. He was complaining about that. But plot twist. Good morning, my love, I murmur, and hear a gasp that doesn't emanate from my wife. What the hell? Opening my eyes, I raise my head, and Blariana is staring at me, all wide-eyed and pink-cheeked, while she's lying next to my wife from the other side of our super king. What did that just say? I know I read it twice. Blariana is staring at me, all wide-eyed and pink-cheeked, while she's laying next to my wife from the other side of our super king. How is she laying next to your wife from the other side? What is happening? What's the, you know what? I don't care about the positioning. So she has apparently crawled in bed with them. The word boner is used. His boner dies. I bet you were like, nothing's gonna happen in this book to make me hate Maxim more. Alessia squirms as she rouses beside me, brushing my dick and bringing it instantly back to life. She reaches out and places a hand on Blariana's cheek. Wait a minute, what about me? I don't know, what the fuck about you? Were you sex trafficked? What the fuck do you need, dude? Like, seriously, chill out. And what is up with his hydraulic dick? I mean, just the idea of it, like he wakes up hard and then it instantly goes away and then it's instantly hard again. What is going on? Like, is his dick a pair of Reebok pumps? A fucking reference that I have made that half of the people watching this video will not get because they're not 119 years old. in Alessia's POV, she asks Blariana if she slept okay, and Blariana is like, oh, is your husband mad? And Alessia says, no, why would he be? And with a smirk, she continues, I think he's woken up to more than one woman in his bed before. Blariana gasps once more, scandalized but amused by her friend's candor, then lets out a bubble of laughter, and Alessia giggles too. And they're having this conversation in Albanian while he's still like grinding on Alessia. So, a sex trafficking victim went and got in bed with her friend, the person that makes her feel safe. And the friend's husband, who is concerned that he doesn't get to have sex immediately with his wife because this sex trafficking victim is in their bed. And then this sex trafficking victim laughs when Alessia says that he's woken up with more than one person in his bed. What? Look, I'm not going to try to dictate the experiences and the healing of sex trafficking survivors, but what I will say is I find it highly unlikely that in this case, Blariana would feel safe if this was a real-life situation. The fact that she went and got in bed with Alessia, to me, even though the husband is there, to me makes sense because Alessia is a safe person for her. But the remark about a threesome, and I'm sorry I'm taking so many millennial pauses here. I guess they were exennial pauses, but I'm flabbergasted as to how E.L. James felt like, yes, this is the mindset of a sex trafficking survivor. They wouldn't mind waking up in bed with someone's husband and then having that person insinuate that the husband is into three-ways. The conflict in this chapter seems to be Maxim can't get his dick wet. My wife is tousled and sleepy and giggly and utterly beautiful. Good morning, Lady Trevithick. Something you want to tell me? We seem to have acquired a stowaway during the night. Alessia's gaze is alight with mischief and love, and to my relief, the anguish from last night seems a distant memory. Yeah, I'm so glad we're done with that horrible, pesky, sex trafficking sadness. Her dark eyes are focused on me, and all I see in them is her adoration, and I yearn for her in every way, even with our audience present. But I can't fuck her right now, though I'd like to, because Blariana. Yeah, I added that emphasis at the end, obviously, but the way that it's written is, but I can't fuck her right now, M dash, though I'd like to, M dash, because, ellipses, Blariana. Like, write it out by longhand and see if you didn't hear Blariana at the end. I like that when he looks into her eyes, all he sees is how much she adores him, and that makes him want her. All right, well, we figured out what he loves about Alessia. We figure out where the spark is. She adores him. I hope you don't mind. Blariana was afraid in the night. She came in here. I moved over, and we didn't wake you. There is more room in this bed than in the spare room. More important than that, you are here, keeping us safe from our bad dreams. If this turns into a polyamorous book, I'm going to lose it. I'm going to absolutely lose it, because there is no way that that is going to get carried off well, in any sense of the word. There is no way she's going to manage this, right? But I love that this strange man that Blariana does not know. Again, Blariana, I feel like I'm going to have to keep pointing it out that Blariana has been sex trafficked, and this strange man she doesn't know somehow keeps away her nightmares too. Jesus, Maxim is just as good as an Ambien, isn't he? Isn't he? She strokes my cheek, her fingers brushing my stubble, and the contact of her skin on mine and her sweet words lead directly to my dick. Oh, Alessia, I murmur, and kiss her lightly on the lips, though I want to do so much more. Damn cock blocker. Damn cock blocker is in italics. And he is kissing her in bed with this woman in the bed with them. To indicate my need, I tilt my hips forward, prodding her with my erection. I'd get out of bed, but this gives the game away. Maxim! I grin and plant a swift kiss on her forehead. This will take a moment. Oh my god. So she's like, oh, we'll make coffee. And then she and Bluriana run off together. There's a section break. I presume that Maxim jacks off. I cannot get over the fact that he is grinding on his wife in bed with a sex trafficking victim that they have just taken in, who was so traumatized that she was terrified of him when she came into the house. And he recognized that she was terrified of him. And she gets in bed with his wife because she doesn't feel safe. And he wakes up and they start kissing and grinding. You know what I find interesting? And I just noticed it now for the first time, is that Alessia, in Alessia's POV, when she is speaking in Albanian, she is still speaking with the same patterns that she is when she's speaking English, which is her second language. When she's speaking English, it's very stilted. She does not use contractions. It's very simplistic. And when she's speaking Albanian to Bluriana, she and Bluriana both, in the dialogue, speak with that stilted, no contractions, very simple, almost childlike pattern of speech. In their native language. So this is how E.L. James assumes that Albanian people think. Just bare bones. For example, does he make you get up every day and make coffee? Bluriana asks when they're in the kitchen, her disapproval apparent in her frown. Alessia laughs. No, he makes coffee, even breakfast sometimes, but I like to do these things for him. He's a good man. I love him so much. I can see that. You are lucky. In their own language. Good to know, because we always have to know everyone's shower schedule. It's one of the things in this book and the one before is so important. It's always so important for us to hear whenever a character takes a shower. We have to know that they are consistently showering. This is like written as though Maxim and Alessia are E.L. James's children at camp. Did you eat? What did you eat? Are you taking showers? But just so you know, Maxim has already taken his shower at this point, and Alessia has taken her shower, and Bluriana is in the shower in the guest bedroom. So everyone's getting showered. I'm gonna read this next part, but I'm gonna use the names Ross and Demelza. And for those of you familiar with Poldark, I want you to imagine this scene with Ross and Demelza. And instead of a computer, I want you to imagine he's sitting at his desk with, lots of letters from creditors or something. Whatever the hell it is Ross does, because it's not Find Copper. Ross is already freshly washed, dressed, and sitting at his computer in the living room when Alessia interrupts him. My lord, I have a request. He turns his attention from the screen to her. Why are you standing so far away? He reaches for her and tugs her onto his lap. What is it, my lady? He nuzzles her ear. And if it's about Bluriana joining us in Cornwall, I would rather she didn't. Oh, Alessia... I already fucked it up. I already didn't say Demelza. But the reason that I said imagine Ross Poldark is because he had absolutely no compunction when it came to disappointing his wife at all. And he would premeditate what it was she was about to say so that he could just say it and reject it. It happens like several times. I've seen that, and I've seen that series so many times. But yeah, so he just says to her, like, oh, is it about Bluriana going with us to Cornwall? Because, you know, I'd rather she didn't. And then he says that it's not what she thinks. It's that he's worried that if they find out that she has been in the country illegally, then you'll be, you know, they might deny your visa, and the police know Bluriana, so they might know that you were trafficked too. I am still stuck on this idea that someone is kidnapped and brought into the country and then escapes and comes back legally, and that makes it not legal. Maybe that's the case. E.L. James can certainly afford to do the research. But if that is the case, if that is a real thing that would really happen, sort yourself the fuck out, UK. I'm not sure we're any better, but, you know, sort yourself the fuck out. Maxim suggests that they talk to Tish Kavanaugh to get Bluriana's case expedited. Is Tish working on Bluriana's case? But he wants to get Bluriana's case expedited, and he's like, she might get a visa before you do. And how is that going to help the situation for her visa? Because he says that once Bluriana has her visa, she can come visit them in Cornwall. How is Bluriana having a visa going to negate that there was a link between the two of them when one of them has been trafficked? I don't get it. I don't know. Oh my God. Why am I even, again, this is another case where I am thinking harder about this book than the author clearly did. So they leave to take Bluriana home. She and Alessia are sitting together in the back seat, and Alessia can sort of sense that as they're getting closer to dropping Bluriana off where she's been staying, she's getting more anxious. And Bluriana's like, I wish I could come with you. And Alessia is like, I know. Alessia squeezes her hand and glances at Maxim. Their eyes meet in the rearview mirror, and she wonders if she should press Maxim to change his mind. No. You should have put your foot down and said, my friend is more important than you getting your dick wet. Conveniently, Maxim can't be the bad guy, and Alessia can't be a terrible advocate for her friend because Bluriana has to stay behind. She has meetings she has to go to with a social worker. Great! That frees us up to read a bunch of, like, almost sex in Cornwall, because we're not even getting the sex scenes anymore. Again, not that I want them. You know, I'm perfectly happy with this arrangement, but I thought this book was supposed to be, like, really pulse-pounding and sexy and passionate. It's a passionate love story. We read all about the passionate fucking love story and all of that. Oh, my God. They drop Bluriana off, so the conflict over whether or not Bluriana can come to Cornwall is completely over. As quickly as it began. It was a problem, and now it's not. And he sees how upset Alessia is, and he's like, do you want to turn around? I can go back and get her. And she's like, no, she has to see for social workers and stuff like that. And in Maxim's POV, I blow out a breath, period. Relieved, period. Yeah, he's relieved because he's going to be able to bang his wife. Instead, I switch BBC Radio 6 on the sound system and let the music wash over me from an old-timer, Roy Harper, his song North Country from 1974. I'd like to learn to play this on guitar. Oh, that's fantastic. Why don't you fucking go do that? Why don't you fuck off and end the book right here at 80%? We are at 80%. None of this shit is wrapped up. There's going to be a third book. Oh my God, there's going to be a third book. And it's going to be called, like, The Baby or The Twins or something. The Anchor Baby. I don't know what it's going to be called, but it's going to be called something, and we're going to read it because that's who we are. Don't worry. Don't worry, Mom, they're eating again. There is after we have to learn for no reason that he is listening to this very specific country song, that he wants to learn to play on the guitar. There's a section break, and he asks Alessia if she wants for lunch. She says she's not hungry. He says something with a panini, and I guess, cause she says that seems so long ago. I guess it happened in the last book. Maybe they had a panini, and like I was supposed to remember it as like this really cute and funny moment. I don't. And she's like, I'm hungry. She's like, I'm not hungry. And he's like, I am. Can we stop? And she's like, of course. I don't want you to be hungry. Yeah, because that, oh God, oh, just everything about this misogynist piece of trash. Everything about it. Everything about this misogynist piece of trash. I hate it, 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 I hate it. So we had to go in and hear about their order. We didn't see the whole thing. We didn't see them go in, but we had to hear about them going in and what they got, and they decided to eat it in the car. And it's like a traumatic thing for Alessia because of service stations or whatever, because I remember she escaped when they stopped at a service station, and he thinks like it's gonna take time for her to like heal from this. And it's like, yeah, because you've known each other for like 2 weeks. If we want to just hate more on Maxim, here we go. You didn't get to tell me about your last day on the course. How was it, I ask, my mouth full and some butter dribbling down my chin. She hands him a napkin. I'm not going to read the whole paragraph and how her course went, right? That's great. Out of the corner of my eye, I watch her take a delicate bite of her toastie as she deliberates over something. Her napkin is neatly laid in her lap, pointing the correct way, and it makes me smile. She's every inch a lady. This motherfucker sent his wife to learn how to be more refined. And he's got butter all over his damn chin, and his wife has to hand him a napkin, and then he's judging. He's like, oh, she's every inch a lady because she's being like prim and delicate the way he paid for her to be. God damn, I hate this book. I am so ready we are almost done with it. Hold on. Because you know what our favorite part of this book is. You know, and it hasn't happened in so long. And I have been aching. I mean, we have gone chapters without this happening, which is unthinkable. And all I can think is it must be the work of some devious editor who ran a search on the manuscript and said, pardon me, Miss James, please don't hit me, but I see that you have used this particular phrase 173 times in your novel, and I was just wondering if you could just maybe take a few out. That's how I'm imagining that went. But even though we were robbed of continuous multi-chapter use, it's here. It's back. We're all safe. Yes, I want to prove to your mother and people like her that I am worthy of you and your ... your legacy. Her softly spoken statement is a gut punch, sending shockwaves to my soul. Fuck a duck. So he's like, oh, my mom did that. Rowena must have said something. My mom must have said something. Hey, actually, it was your BFF, Caro. It was her. It was Caroline. It was Caroline. It wasn't your mother. It was Caroline that suggested that you send your wife to a class to make her more acceptably rich and shitty. And you were like, capital idea. Capital idea. I will send her to this class where they will mold her from a lady. Why comfy English? And that was your choice. That was your choice. Rex Harrison, motherfucker. he says you must have been on the receiving end of some awful diatribe, and Alessia is like, hey, you know what? That was a rough night, right? Like, your mom was there to confess that your brother is your half-brother and that she cheated on your dad. And so, yeah, she was in a state of heightened emotion. And also, maybe because of this whole thing, you should feel a little bit more human, more empathy towards your mother, because sometimes women get into bad situations and they don't have choices. I inhale sharply. My sweet, compassionate wife, reminding me of the brutal truth of the world, and she would know. Her awful travails brought her to me. So her travails have not ended. It blows my mind. My sweet girl, defending my mother. I clear my crowded throat. How's your toasty? I ask, because we're in a difficult territory. I don't want to feel any compassion for my mother. She left us. She was cruel to my wife. E.L. James missed a spot for a truly funny and truly non-offensive English as a second language joke, okay? And I'm going to tell you where it could have been put in. They go to the property from a different approach, okay? They go to because they're going to Cornwall to his big farm or whatever. They take like a different approach, and they come in where all the cattle are. And Alessia sees the cows and is like, you have cows? And he says they're Devons, which is a breed of cattle, which he later explains to her. But she just looks at him like, it would have been 127,000 times funnier if she was like, who's Devon? Like that, because I'm sorry, English is a difficult language. You would immediately think they're Devons, possessive. You wouldn't think this must be a very specific name for a very specific type of cow. It would have been funny, and it would have been charming, and it would have been inoffensive in terms of pointing out her language barrier. Because so far, whenever the language barrier is pointed out, it has been when she has been condescendingly corrected by Maxim. So this would have been a case where she actually did need to be corrected. It did need to be cleared up. But it would have been funny, and it would have been understandable, and it would have been done in a way that doesn't make Alessia feel like, to the reader, like a child character who is, oh, so precocious, using such a big word like truck and clever phone. You know, like it wouldn't have had that, so missed opportunity. Again, here goes Jenny thinking harder about these books than the authors ever do. He talks about how, quote, magnificent the house is. Sorry, not magnificent. He talks about the magnificence of the house. Either way, it's magnificent and impressive. And she gasps at it. And he's like, this is going to be home. It's going to be a home for me and Alessia and my kids. Fuck. It sounds like he's saying, fuck, we're gonna have kids. Dude, steady. That's a weighty thought, accompanied by weighty emotions. Now, that's a weighty thought is a thought. Accompanied by weighty emotions is not a thought. Neither one of them should have been thoughts. The groundskeeper or the farm manager or whatever random ass side character we met in the last book comes out, and also his dogs, Jensen and Haley. His dogs come out and they're jumping on Maxim, and I honest to God don't believe that dogs would like Maxim. Of course, the people that run the house are just like thrilled to see Alessia, and they're so excited, and obviously their lives are so improved by a new countess because, you know, they're serfs or whatever, I don't know. They're calling him my lord and her my lady like it's the first time or whatever. He's like, oh, this will never do. Maxim, please, I instruct her. But they've already been at the house when he has been Lord Trevithick. He's already been, he was the Count when his brother died. So he's already been there. And it's a little bit weird that it hasn't been that long since his brother died and they're like acting happy that he's the new... But it doesn't matter. We don't have to think about Kit anymore because he's a half-brother, and it's very clear from the text here that that is somehow lesser. The book treats that as though it's not, he's not like a real sibling anymore. They walk all the way, they've come up to the back of the house to like the servant's entrance, so he walks her all the way around. And she's like, what are you doing? And he says that he's taking her to the front door and then explains that they rarely use the front door. They should go through this door, but everybody goes through this door because it's this and it's this. I don't care what doors you walk through, bitch. I have no care in the world, Maxim. Just get to the fucking door and carry her over the threshold the way that I know is gonna happen, because that's, you know, we've got to just keep this whole, like, they're so in love, they're newlyweds, they're whatever going, because it's all this book has. And I think at some point the author was desperately hoping that her characters would develop some kind of chemistry. They don't have it yet, and they're married, and it just feels like all of these forced little moments. I round the corner and follow the path, lined with ancient yews, toward the old front door inset in the spacious stone porch. It's a quicker journey for Danny, who opens the old oak door. Beside her, Jessie, our cook, and Brodie, one of the estate hands, stand ready to welcome us. I carry Alessia inside and set her down in the hallway in front of my family coat of arms and our staff. Welcome, Countess Trevithick. I cup her face, bringing her lips to mine, and give her a sweet kiss that stirs my soul. My wife, here, at last. Why does he always have to remind us that she's his wife? He says that it's not so long ago that they were there. She's like, it was another lifetime, which just happens through this book over and over and over again. They'll be like, it seems like it was so long ago, but it was another lifetime. It was like maybe a month. It was, he whispers, and brushes his thumb along her bottom lip, sending a bolt of delicious electricity south through her muscle, sinew, and bone, and all the soft tissue in between. It's arousing. Yeah, we know from the description that you just gave that it's supposed to be arousing. The description wasn't arousing, but when it's sending a bolt of delicious electricity south, you don't need to follow that up with, by the way, she's aroused. But boy, I'll tell you, nothing gets me horned up more than thinking about sinew and soft tissue. I don't think about gutting a deer at all. I know your look. She can feel it. Their desire, coursing between them. Electrical, magical. Their own special alchemy. And who are they to deny the alchemy, tortured poets? They chase each other, like he runs up the stairs, because he's like, I'll race you to the bedroom type thing. And she is running after him, and he picks her up and throws her over his shoulder. They get into the bedroom. They're kissing. Oh my god, there might actually be... Oh, there's a sex scene. For the first time. It's been so long. I'm not going to subject us to it. I don't feel the need to read the whole damn sex scene. They start doing all the stuff that they usually do. They're undressing each... She smiles to herself and for him as she catches her breath, and they stand in each other's arms at peace in the eye of their passionate storm. Like, Passionate Storm is like the title of a 1980s historical romance novel about pirates. They're taking each other's clothes off. He takes her shoes and socks off. Like, they can't just get undressed. It's like several pages of like how they take off I take off my shirt this way, we take off each other's clothes this way, she does this, or she unbuttons her jeans this way. You know, just say they got undressed. Just skip that part. I'm imploring you. This guy thinks his dick is so special that it causes history. First time, as man and wife. Here, I whisper, suddenly beset by a sense of history or legacy or something that's more than the two of us. They're gonna get pregnant, by the way. This is where they're gonna get pregnant. Because he thinks about history and legacy, something more than just, we get it, we get the foreshadowing, they're having a baby. It's just the same, the standard E.L. James sex scene. Her body rises to meet mine, and she wraps her arms and legs around me, holding me fast. It's intoxicating, and I can resist no more and start to move, hard, swift, claiming the woman who is my wife. You know, like, just that sort of, like, word period. This is very sexy because of my punctuation. I'm hers. She's mine, for all time. Maxim, she cries as she comes, and I let go, finding release inside the only woman I've ever truly loved. My wife. Thanks for clearing that up. Thanks for, the 3 other times in the chapter that you called her your wife. I keep forgetting who she is. Ah! Yeah, so, oh my gosh. Like, things are a little bit better that Bluriana isn't there, because I don't have to sit here and go, I cannot believe this guy. I cannot believe the selfishness. I cannot believe the, oh no, I can't be serviced by my wife. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, check the description box if you want to join up for the Jealous Patrons AV Club that will be coming to the $1 tier of Patreon, so that you can hear about how much my kid hated Icebreaker. And if you are in the Northwoods area in Iowa, I believe tickets are still available for the Northern Iowa, or the North Iowa Book Bash that is this coming weekend, which is May, you know, what is, let's get my planner. Let's just really make sure that I don't give you the wrong dates, just in case you're like, I'm going to come out that day. May 4th at Diamond Joe's Casino. I keep saying Cathedral, but Diamond Joe's Casino. And if you want to come out and meet some authors, come see me. I'll be there. I'm sharing a table with a really awesome author, Landra Graff. So, yeah. Oh, and Bronwyn Green will be there if you and Jess Jarman from Merlin Club. They're not signing, but if you show up and you're like, hey, I've always wanted to meet Merlin Club and 13th Legion from back in the day, we can hook you up. We can make it happen. Come see me if you're in lower Minnesota, northern Iowa. And otherwise, I will catch you on the flip side, and we'll do more of this fucking book.